and possibilities of birthing in a disastrous and pestilential aqua.
I'm proud of Nigeria despite the challenges. I had an American green card. I gave it up. I'm not excited about it. If I was crazy about it, I would keep my green card and eventually qualify for citizenship.
More than ever before in the history of our nation, this is the worst instability we are facing. In fact, this is worse than the Civil War. Today, there are a lot of misgiving, a lot of misinterpretations of what is happening. We cannot pretend that we are capable of confronting the situation in our hands.
Editors Hangout, where journalists gather to dissect the pulse of our world. We are not just reporters, we are the guardians of truth and justice, with our pens and mouth sharp enough to pierce through society ills for humanity and a better country. Don't miss out, because when journalists speak, the world listens. Tune in to your Shining Supreme radio station and be part of the conversation every Wednesday from 11 o'clock to 12 noon. Editors Hangout, the meeting point of journalist by journalist for humanity, society, and the country.
It's exactly 3 minutes gone past 11. Good morning, and you are welcome on Editors Hangout. It is that time where news editors convert to add a formidable voice to issues, events, and happenings within and around us. I greet you again, say you're welcome. All right, you can be a part of today's conversation, irrespective of your location, by logging on to our online platform. That's www.diamondfm.net, or you can listen live on Facebook. You can watch us live on Facebook, and then you can drop your comment right there. We'll make sure to pick it up. Or you can call in eventually when we open the studio line on 091 3655 6952, or you can send a text message or a WhatsApp message to 091 3655 6864. All right, joining me this morning is, the general manager of Diamond 88.7 FM, Michael Abiodun Lariwaju Osha. Very soon he should step in. And we also have Alaji Akinlolu Abayomi, publisher, OrientActualMags.com. You are welcome this morning, sir. It's good to have you.
Good morning, the anchor woman.
Yeah,
Good
right.
morning, listeners at home.
All right. We also have Mr. Bayomi Hadiniji, is a veteran journalist. You're welcome, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's great to be here.
All right. And also Mr. Abiodun Akinwumi should join us also very, very shortly. All right. And we have Maho in the house, our general manager, Mr. Michael Abiodun Lariwaju. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Thank you.
All right.
Good morning to our esteemed listeners all over the world.
All right, we'll be talking about two important topics today: the exile of the Sahel state from ECOWAS. So we will be talking about that, and also the trade war of the that's between United States of America and the neighboring countries. And we might probably be, having a focus on China. The trade war between America and China. All right, let's start already with the exit of the Sahel state, Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, known as the Alliance of Sahel State from ECOWAS. These three countries under military rule have officially left West African regional bloc ECOWAS after more than a year of diplomatic tension. The withdrawal of Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger is a huge blow to ECOWAS, which at 50 years old is considered Africa's most important regional group. Now, this split has sparked after when these three countries departed. It has sparked some questions in the mind of so many persons. And a week ago, ECOWAS said it will keep its door open to Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, even though they have forged ahead with their own bloc, the Alliance of Sahel States, that's AES by its French acronym. And the relationship between ECOWAS and the three Sahel states has been tense since there was military seizure of of power in Niger in 2023, in Burkina Faso in 2022, and Mali in 2020. All right, now let's start with the questions of the day. In order for us to cover these two questions, we will be dealing with just a little bit of the questions we have today, not delving so much into them. But then, talking about ECOWAS now, should ECOWAS have taken another, let's say like an alternative measures instead of imposing, economic sanctions? Because according to what we read, they said a sanction actually strengthened their resolve to back out of ECOWAS. That gave them the final no, we're not into this anymore. So do you think ECOWAS should have taken alternative, measures regarding their sanction on Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali? Let me go to Mao.
Thank you very much. When we have to go back to history in order to understand what is really happening in ECOWAS. Each time I emphasize the need for us to understand the history of our place.
Okay.
You find out that the great nations of the world, they recourse to history in order to really understand the next steps they are taking. And I often really go against Nigeria international policy formulators, not even thinking of the interests of Nigeria in any of our foreign policy direction. And it's almost the same thing that is really repeating itself even in the ECOWAS.
Okay.
You find out that since the formation of ECOWAS, Nigeria has been the major funding father for the regional bloc.
Okay.
And the issue of these Sahel states coming up now cannot be any way far from the past history of Africa. You find out that when in the early 60s, most of the African nations wanted a united front in order to confront the colonial master, in order to remove the neo-colonial vestiges we have in Africa.
Okay.
And this was what gave birth to Organization of African Unity, now presently transformed to AU. And you find out that at independence, there were a lot of nationalists across Africa.
Yeah, right.
The likes of Patrice Lumumba, the likes of youthful, vibrant Nkrumah, and a lot of others. Even right there in Congo there, we have a lot of Bobni Africans who believe that we must get away from the handouts of the imperialists, of the handouts of the colonialists. But along the line, it is like history now repeating itself. If you look at the history of some of these Sahel states, especially Burkina Faso, they have undergone a lot of transformation under the likes of Thomas Sankara. So it is these same people now, it's like repelling the imperialist tendencies in the African leaders that is really propelling them not to want to go with ECOWAS anymore. And it is history just repeating itself.
Okay.
So they have alliance, and this alliance is propelled by the major factor that they don't want neo-colonial vestiges in their territory anymore.
But
because
then,
if not, why would they fight against France, their colonial master? Why would they want the French to be removed from all their activities? You get the point there?
Yes.
There are a lot of fundamentals we need to really understand in order for us to even redirect our foreign policy as a nation.
okay.
Nigeria needs to sit down, think about what do we even stand to gain before going to any foreign policy. Most of our foreign policy have been laid on the premise of being godfathers, not even what the country stands to gain. And we have opened our doors too much that all our policies have been neo-colonial in nature, and this has even been affecting our economy till date. So it means that Nigeria, even as the leading figure in ECOWAS, as the leading figure in, as one of the leading figures in Africa, needs to reassess and readdress our foreign policy in order to see what benefits the nation.
All right.
We have not been doing this. We need to visit this.
Okay, but then looking at it now, since you said they are dwelling on, so some of the neo-colonial policies and all that they have now, do you think they can stand alone now? Is there a standalone for them? Do you see the future for them at this point in time?
Okay, thank you, the anchor woman. The point is this: the three countries are landlocked. They depend on other countries for their exports and imports, and so obviously there's no way they can stand alone. But one thing is certain: their sovereignty is not in doubt and can never be in doubt and can never be challenged. Okay. And once a country is independent, whatever decision such a country makes, it stands. That's number one. Number two, if a country says, okay, for example, ECOWAS comprises 15 countries as members, and now 3 have left. So remaining 12.
Yeah.
So it is not compulsory. It is not that it is compulsory that you must be a member of any organization. So what happened was they notified ECOWAS that they will be leaving. That was last year, January, and it will take 1 year for them to complete the withdrawal requirements, and they've done that. But what I will say is this: I've answered your question, which is the fact that can they stand alone? It's not possible. They will still. Even ECOWAS made it clear that the passport, that allows a member of any ECOWAS country to visit, any country in, among the 15 members, or former 15, now 12. So it is still there. The economic cooperation will still be there. And like I said, the 3 countries are landlocked. They don't even have ports. So whatever they will export, whatever they will import, will still have to go through other countries. So there must still be interactions.
Okay.
But one thing is certain: what was the cardinal objective and goal? The main one, there were so many cool goals and objectives. What was the main one, the cardinal one?
Okay.
It was to raise the standards of living of the people of ECOWAS, ECOWAS countries. So if some people are now saying they are leaving and their countries, their citizens are not complaining, normally it is the citizens that will go to ECOWAS court, ECOWAS this, OAU this, to report their leaders that they want them to come and intervene. But in this case, the leaders are saying we are no longer interested. And the citizens are not saying no. It means
the citizens are rejoicing.
It means they are in support of such a decision.
Sorry, I think I must quickly
Interject.
disagree with you.
Okay.
Because, you see, let us not forget that all these 3 countries are under military rule. Ibrahim Traore has had 7 coup attempts against him. That is an indication that he is neither popular nor stable. In the case of Niger, what I'm trying to say is that there is no sign that there was any form of consultation. Minister of Mali, I cannot remember her name now, spoke on this matter, that while these people have taken these decisions, there is nothing to indicate that the people of those countries are in agreement with that decision. A lot of the beans, cowpea, ewa, that we eat in Nigeria, well, some of it comes from as far away as Burkina Faso. A number of the cattle that you see at Ilesha Baruba cattle market come from as far away as Mali. So the ordinary people, in my opinion, have no say whatsoever in this matter. It's like under Idi Agbon and Buhari, for those people like Mao that knew what was happening there. Who are you to say you agree or disagree with what they are doing? So I agree they are a sovereign nation. They can take any decision that they feel like taking. But as far as the people are concerned, if you go to Ilela or Jibia now, you will see the rate at which people are going and coming. So I do not associate this thing with the popular demand of the people of ECOWAS. I do not. We can't. If you go to Zango, there is one set of traders. I know they are of Malian origin. When you go to them and say to this CEDEAO that your government say you are going to leave, you will say, please don't come and cause trouble for me. Leave me alone. So I'm not sure it is a popular decision. Sorry, I had to.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. But the point is this: when late General Sani Abacha, as fearful as he was, I won't say some other things. I have to choose my words. People still formed Nadeco. There was still Radio Kudorat. People still, visited headquarters of ECOWAS, OAU, UN.
State broadcasters. They are. We are in this modern world. Go and see. And and people also have a typical Nigerian person will tell you, even this democracy, what is it all about? Let the soldier. I want to paraphrase a Nigerian I met. What is our concern? When the soldier has a bank, what is our business with the voting? Let the soldier do it. If another one is tired, he will knock him out and he will continue. This is an authentic Nigerian citizen statement.
Okay.
Remember, even under colonial rule, Nigerians, there was the British Council, Keneka, West Africa. Mao will remember, of all the British colonies.
Yes.
So, the vibrancy of the likes of Nkrumah, the likes of Zik, has not left Nigerians. So I think that is also a major thing, because in all the years of military rule in those countries, when Nigeria had military rule, there was constant agitation for the return of democracy in Nigeria. In those countries, the agitation was much less, much less.
All right,
so that's the way I
even Benin Republic here, or Steve is the head of all the broadcasting and is state-owned.
All right. So, well, in essence, that's to say that the essence to fight back for the citizens is not there for them to fight, their leaders and say, this is what we want, making their voice heard about what they want and not what the leaders actually wanted for them.
Exactly.
All right. So we have to go on a very short break. And when we're back, we'll talk about the influence of the bloc now. Would they really, has this weakened the influence ECOWAS has on the African, the West African countries or not? This is the next question we'll go to after this very short break. Do not change that dial. It's still Editor's Hangout on Diamond 88.7 FM. And do know again, you can send your opinion to the number 0913-655-6864.
On behalf of all members of the Association of Local Government Chairmen of Nigeria, Algon, Kwara State Chapter, we extend our warmest congratulations to His Excellency Malam Abdurrahman Abdurrazak, the Executive Governor of Kwara State and Chairman of the Nigeria Governors Forum, on the occasion of the 65th birthday. We join you in celebrating this remarkable milestone, acknowledging your unwavering dedication, visionary leadership, and exceptional achievements in steering the progress of Kwara State. Your efforts in advancing sustainable development, promoting unity, and creating an environment of growth are inspiring and commendable. May you continue to lead with wisdom, strength, and success. On behalf of all Algon members, we wish you many more years of good health, happiness, and continued prosperity. This message is brought to you by Honorable Abdullahi Abubakar Danlad, Chairman Algon, Kwara State, and Honorable Abdurrashid Femi Yusuf, Algon PRO.
All right, 23 minutes gone past 11, and I said that we will be going forward. The next question to talk about the influence of the ECOWAS right now. In case you're just tuning in, this is Editor's Hangout on Diamond 88.7 FM, and my name is Omonike Babatunde, and I still have my guest heavily seated right here. Now, let's talk about the influence of ECOWAS now. Do you think this will weaken, the influence of ECOWAS at this moment? And also, would it probably, inspire, since other African countries are seeing, Niger, Mali and others leaving, do you think it will inspire them to, strengthen their resolve and say, no, we have to step out also, we're not doing anymore?
Well, I don't think it will reduce the influence of ECOWAS.
Okay.
Because as they rightly said, the relationship between countries on the West African coast has been existing even before the colonial masters. So, for instance, now the South, the Yoruba, and the people in Benin Republic, no matter if you are ECOWAS, you are not in ECOWAS, there's no way you can separate the relationship between the two. The same thing with people from the north and people from Niger Republic.
Okay.
Likewise, people from Burkina Faso and Mali. So that relationship between them has been existing years ago.
Okay.
So there's nothing like ECOWAS is doing that can affect that relationship.
Okay.
Then other countries say they want to leave. I don't think that is think that is possible.
Okay.
So you look at these three countries, they are ruled by military rulers. And we should not forget the influence of Russia in all these things too. Because those countries, they are colonized by French before.
Okay.
And most of them said they are not in relationship with France again. Even they are not even the only one. Even Cote d'Ivoire, the last military base in France, they are going to release the soldiers there very soon now. So that means this thing is a result of like another Cold War in the African continent, like the Sahel region here.
Okay.
The Russia and what is even inspiring is the Russia and Ukraine war. So the influence of gas from Russia to other European countries has reduced. So they're even planning to even run a gas pipeline through the Sahel region to Europe. So this thing is affecting this thing, and that's why I expect the African Union and even the ECOWAS to make sure that we have more influence on this region, so that it will reduce the influence of these colonial masters from having localism in Africa.
Okay.
And that's one of the reasons why when African Union had their first sitting in 1932, he said they should approach a general approach to African continent now. And that's one of the reasons why the last of this man Gaddafi and this former Zimbabwe president Mugabe. Those are the last Pan-Africanism that we have. Africans should speak with one voice. It's our time. And if we continue like this, other countries will say they want to go. If Russia was able to invade these countries.
Right.
So what we are saying is the influence of other countries. And I will advise ECOWAS to strengthen our resolve to make sure that we reduce the external influence on our neighbors. Whether we like it or not, what happened in those countries will affect us. Whether we like it or not. And that's why US make sure that they protect their interests in the North American region. What affects any country will affect the others.
All right. What affects them might affect, others. 09136556952. The number to call 09136556952 to make your opinion heard. And you can also send us a message on our WhatsApp number on 09136556864. You were talking about the influence now of the colonial master. I believe that is what the Sahel blocks are, the AES are trying to fight against. Now, when these influences are still in place, do you think there's a way to actually fight, their influence at any point in time? Because, well, they more or less have an impact. Their influence have an impact on our growth in Africa. Now, what would be your, let me come to Mr. Abayomi, what would be your reaction to, their influence on Africa? Do you think we can ever do away with it?
You are talking of the influence of the extra African powers like Russia and France?
No, of the colonial masters now, because like the likes of they are trying to do away with France and their influence on them. Now, other colonial masters have a definite influence.
I get what you're saying. In 1975, late in the course of the liberation of Angola and Mozambique. There were three groups.
Sorry, sir. Let's pick this. Okay, please go on.
Murtala Mohammed was the head of state of Nigeria then. And he said that the OAU, as it was then, that Africa has come of age. We have not left one colonial master to adopt another. That Nigeria should support the party known as UNITA in Angola. Nigeria supported MPLA, which is still in power in Angola till today. the influence of colonial powers in Africa.
All right, sorry, let's
cannot-
speak this.
Okay,
Sorry to cut you short.
Go ahead,
Hello.
go ahead, please speak.
You're welcome, Mr. Rotimi.
I really appreciate everybody in the house. Good morning, sir.
Good morning,
Good
sir.
morning, ma.
Good morning,
My
sir.
my contribution this morning. You are all an historian and intelligent people. You have made all the comments. What I want to tell us, Nigeria and all African nations, every world leader, they should know to have manner and way they will control their country. The same manner Donald Trump is running Nigeria with. He started with this ECOWAS in Nigeria. Immediately the problem starts. Instead of sit down and see that the problem, you give them sanction. You cut off their life. So we have a stable life in that and again. Talk of this thing. Let us take a while, think deeply. This is what we need to know. Let us think deeply. Since that time, we have never had a stable life in Nigeria, and it's causing us a lot of problems. Our economy are so ridiculous and so reduced. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Rotimi from Oro. Please go on, sir.
So I was saying that the powers of the former colonial rulers cannot be set aside.
Okay.
However, the reality is that Africans must decide what they want to do. As far as I'm concerned, the former French colonies have allowed themselves to be houseboys for too long. Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso, in the Human Development Index, they are the poorest countries in the world. They are among the 5 poorest countries in the world. We can do a fact check on that. So their good relation with France over the years has not yielded them anything. Uranium from Niger is providing electricity in France. Yet I am not sure that 40% of the people of Niger have access to electricity. If you go to the border at Chikanda, they are still using charcoal iron in Benin Republic. So many of the Francophone countries, while they may be free from what we would call the former colonial master, neo-colonialism and imperialism, Mao is an authority on that, is still active. That is, there will still be extra African powers that will decide what they do. It's a good thing, in my opinion, that they have sent away France, because over time their relationship has not been a good one. But they still need extra African powers to help them develop their resources. But then African countries, I don't know if we are lazy, if it is that we lack vision, because the question I want to ask, I raised this somewhere recently, the colonial powers. I mean, think of it. Britain, with a population of maybe 30 million people, was ruling colonial India, that is now 5 countries, of maybe 600-700 million 200 years ago. Why is it like that? So Africans must realize that Africa is, in short, let Africa be first in our matter.
All right.
Let Nigeria be first in our matter. Why should we be eating spaghetti produced by imported wheat? Do you understand?
Yes.
So these are my own challenges. I believe it is time that Africans learn to live with what is their own. Trump already. Oh, sorry.
Thank you so much. We're still going there. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Bayomi. Well, just as you said, I'm sure Thabo Mbeki at some point in time always emphasize, let Africa be the first focus of you. You're African. Let Africa also be your first focus. That was what he told us when we went to South Africa back then. And it's a message that needs to be passed across to each and individual of us as Africans. Just the same way Donald Trump, is holding on to America. America is ours. We should make sure Africa also is ours. We need to go on a very short break, and when we're back, we will talk about the trade war that is happening right at this moment, between the United States, Mexico, China. But then we're going to focus majorly on China, because China has been a major influence on majority of us. I'm sure if we look at ourselves right now, there are so many China things around us. So we will talk extensively about this. Do not change that dial. It's still Editors Hangout on Diamond 88.7 FM.
bẹ́ẹ̀ni ẹ bá fẹ́ ṣayẹyẹ Diamond Arena ni ẹ ti ṣe. Diamond Arena ni gbọ̀ngàn tó máa gbà.
ǹjẹ́ ti gbọ́ pé kí ni pé Diamond Arena ti wà ní sísí sílẹ̀ fún lílò báyìí fún gbogbo èyíkéyìí ayẹyẹ gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ń wá gbọ̀ngàn ayẹyẹ tó wà classic tó tóbi dáadáa tó sì gbẹgbẹ̀lẹ́gbẹ̀ yàn fún onírúurú ayẹyẹ gbogbo tẹ́ ẹ bá fẹ́ ṣe bíi wedding receptions retirement birthday celebrations seminars funeral receptions AGM meetings religious programs end of the year parties anniversary lónìrànràn reunions graduation ceremonies àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ pẹ̀lú àyíká tó stand out with 100% serenity ẹ má wulẹ̀ làágùn jìnnà Diamond Arena nìdáhùn sí ìbéèrè ọkàn yín ròyìn òtún àfojúbà ẹ̀ẹ́dẹ́gbẹ̀ kẹ́yìn ló gbà pé optimum standard gbà ní ètò ààbò wà digbílà yín gé tẹ́ máa yè tó ṣe páàkì ọkọ̀ sí tó fẹ́ dáadáa ẹ̀rọ amúnáwá ńkọ́ ọ̀nà standby level ló ń bẹ níkàlẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ ni kò sí ìjákúrekú iná ọba lọ́dọ̀ wọn àwọn ẹ̀rọ amúlétutù tó kù rè bí òjò ń bẹ níbẹ̀ hayayaya Diamond Arena fún bookings ẹ kàn sí Diamond Arena lónìí ní plot 3 ní ìfẹ̀dẹ́kẹ̀gbẹ́ Diamond Park tó wà ní ìrẹwọlédé nínú Ìlọrin nípínlẹ̀ Kwara bákan náà lẹ́tọ́ lè kàn sí wa lórí ìtàkùn ayélujára www.diamondarena.com.ng tàbí kẹ́ gbà wá láago 09136700075 Diamond Arena gbọ̀ngàn tó wà classic tó ta lẹ́nu yẹ́rìyẹ́rì. Diamond Arena ní gbọ̀ngàn tó wà gbà.
34 minutes gone past 11. You're still on to Editor's Hangout on time at 88.7 FM in Lorry. And now we'll be moving on to our second topic for today. Well, on Saturday, the 1st of February, Trump declared a state of emergency by invoking the International Emergency Economic Power Act, that's IEEPA. And the International Emergency Economic Power Act is a U.S. federal law enacted in 1977 that grants the president broad power to regulate economic transactions and impose sanctions during a national emergency related to foreign threat and impose tariff on 3 countries. Now, these tariffs were to come to effect, on Tuesday. That was yesterday. But then, after a telephone call with Mexican president and 2 conversations with Canadian President Minister Justin Trudeau, Trump agreed to put the tariff on the 2 neighbors on pause for a month. But that's excluding China out of this. And then he put a pause for a month and a 10% tariff that Trump announced on Chinese imports on a top of existing tariff kickoff on Tuesday morning. So, but then, this old threat has been looming for quite a while now. It is not just starting now. It has been in existence since 1930. There has been, tariff war and the like since 1930. But then I won't be able to list all that because each government of the United States as war. There were banana tariff, there were, steel tariff and different tariffs at some point. You said what, sir? Chicken, yes, there were chicken. I saw that of chicken tariff at some point in time from the United States. And if you could recall, President Trump's term as president, his first term in 2016 to 2020. But in January 2018, he introduced tariff on all solar panels and washing machine. And well, that particular one also backfired because at some point in time, China saw it as, okay, you're putting a tariff on us, and they also sanctioned theirs. China also imposed 25% tariff on 125 U.S. products, including soya beans and aeroplane. And that year, Trump also slapped a 25% tariff on steel and 10% tariff on aluminium from Canada, Mexico, and EU countries. And like China, other targeted countries also eat back. So this is like a back and forth, tariff on each other. So now let's talk about the immediate and the long-term economic effects now of these Trump's new tariff. But before we talk about that effect, I need to know, at some point in time I was wondering, is this a Trump bias or this is a United States bias? So which of these bias is it? Is this bias on the part of Trump, the United States president, or on or from the whole of United States as a whole? Sir Mao.
Yes, thank you so much. When you look at the economic history and you go back to the past, okay, there's a policy we call laissez-faire, free trade. Mm-hmm. But this free trade has not always worked since its introduction in Europe and America. you find out that there is no way how there is need for protection of the goods and services from region to region over time. And along the line, when you look at what the Americans are now the Trump administration is trying to do, he was trying to protect the American goods going out, and he was trying to prevent competition, because America has almost been outplayed by the Chinese. Listen, because
more imports than export.
Then you find out that the cost of production in Asia is by far cheaper than what we have in America. So definitely this affects the cost of goods, and this has been giving upper hands to the Chinese. So that in order to actually reduce this influence, that was why Trump felt that the best thing is to introduce tariff. There have been underneath trade war between China and the US for some time. And the neighboring countries too, one way or the other, because there is no nation that can exist in isolation. For instance, the gas supply from Canada actually keeps the power going in the US. There was no way how US can be completely immune from trade with Canada, even despite the fact that US has complained about drugs coming into their country through Mexico and a lot of influx of illegal immigrants too. That notwithstanding, there are still some trade inputs from these very countries to the US. But what I believe that is really causing the problem, and why Trump decided to be hard on the Chinese goods, is in order to protect the manufacture from the US. Because their manufacture is being threatened. And this is part of the things that Nigerians as a country, Nigeria needs to learn about. That there is need to protect our own goods and that we manufacture. Yes. Because when you look at the formation of customs in Nigeria, the customs are actually put into place in order to actually protect our domestic manufacture. But contrary, we were much more using the custom to guide the border to actually look for to be monitoring importation and be making money there. Whereas the actual this thing in some other climes is to actually protect the domestic manufacture, and order to actually protect the trade volume for our nation. But this is a challenge to us as a nation. If Trump, as the president in the US, is interested in protecting his own domestic manufacture, Nigeria's leaders should think inward and look at how we too could protect our own domestic manufacture.
All right, thank you so much, Maho. But then you haven't answered my question, so I think I'll try to Mr. Akiwumi now. These buyers, I'm still interested in knowing whose bias this is.
Well, I think it's Trump bias.
You feel it's a Trump bias?
Because the way Trump is behaving now, he's thinking as if we are in the 70s. The reality is that the trade is now in Asia, whether we like it or not. And the paradigm has shifted to Asia. Now, before we used to have the North and the East dichotomy. What we are having now is the so-called East Bloc. They are the one in the lead now. And what Trump is doing now, he just has to tread softly, because if you look at his back is very lean, because it want to depend on the West. So who are the country on the West? Britain. Britain is not a producing nation as it is now. Even the European Union, they are not as strong as before. Now, this bias even in sports. Now, before if it was in 20 years ago, they would not allow Saudi Arabia to host the World Cup. But Saudi Arabia was allowed to host the World Cup, and they stopped the league in Europe in January. Why? Because most of the investment in the sport in Europe is from Asia. So it is at time they realize that the East is coming up. So then there's no country that can manufacture and their product with as cheap as China, whether they like it or not. So in this trade war, they have to tread softly. Because anything that they do, the last of Russia and Ukraine, Russia and North Korea, they are on the side of China, and there is nothing China will lose in if they block the trade to the US. And American company cannot stand on their own. The most popular phone that everybody is using, they are software from China.
All right, thank you.
So whether you like it or not, so it's high time is to make sure that no matter how you want to block, you want to protect the US economy. The reality is that the Asia market is where things is going now. So you just have to be diplomatic about it. So you should not shut it totally, because what I expect China to do is it will stop their export to the US. So if they stop their export to US market cannot survive.
Okay.
So what I'd like to know, because if you dare to block it now, where are they going to send my market to US? Is it European Union? Even right now they are even complaining now, but some of the policy of Donald Trump is affecting them. Now another issue I want to talk about now. Yesterday they said that they are taking some illegal immigrants to Guantanamo Bay. These are not terrorists. Even Guantanamo Bay is supposed to have even destroyed that place. Be closed down. It's all this why. And these are human rights we are talking about. Guantanamo Bay was a center for terrorists. So they should call him to order.
All right, but again, if we're going to look at, we know, yes, his approach to this is quite aggressive. Now, Mr. Deniji, his approach is quite aggressive, yes. But then, do you think the retaliation now from China, Canada, Mexico combined together, do you think the U.S. can actually handle the retaliation? Because definitely there will be a retaliation that will be slapped on them.
Well, I think the retaliations have already started.
Okay.
In the sense that the Canadians too imposed similar tariffs.
Yes, they did.
And like Mao said, the era of laissez-faire economics has never really been real. It has only been an ideal that is completely free markets. Now, I strongly believe that all these issues that Mr. Akinwumi raised, that the American strategists have thought about it. And I also believe that they are ready to live with the consequences. In one of the comments that I saw, or commentaries that I saw, they talked about the goods that come from Canada, oil and gas and lumber products. They believe that it will cause a rise in unemployment from 4.1% to 4.5%. Now, by their estimates, even if those figures are off the mark, the highest rise in unemployment will be 6%. The Trump team believe that they can live with an unemployment of 6%. If Nigeria is not collapsing with unemployment of maybe 33 or 34%, they believe America is sufficiently resilient. If at the end of the day, it will return manufacturing to America. What he said is real. Asia, from the emergence of the Asian tigers in the late 90s to now, countries like Vietnam, Bangladesh, South Korea has always been a U.S. ally, and Cambodia, I can't remember, Indonesia, Malaysia, thank you, Singapore. Those are the Asian tigers. The U.S. believes that they must re-establish the post-World War II hegemony of the United States. Now, as it is, because Trump won with an overwhelming majority, I do not believe it is only Trump bias. I believe a sizable number of Americans feel that their country has declined. And they feel that it is Trump that will take them back to where they want to be. I'm not saying I agree with them. But you see, in order to arrive at, a coach, you are looking at a football team. You know that Okala is a good goalkeeper. So you need somebody with a good shot to be able to knock him off his feet. So I think Trump is ready for the consequences. And whatever he says, Trump will always settle with Canada and Mexico. But he's blustering. Canada should come and be a state in the U.S., Of course, the Canadians have given it back to him. I believe he's simply blustering. He's like he wants to fumble and wumble to get to where he's going. But I think his direction is clear.
Okay, yes.
America first, any other person. Just today, he said that he has given instructions to the U.S. military establishment that if anything happens to him, they should blast Iran out of existence.
Oh, goodness.
I mean, so that means that already he knows he's going to face Iran one way or the other. And he knows that the Iranians are angry. And they have tolerated a lot of discomfort in the world system. And they know that that discomfort is because America is supporting their enemies. And one of the most spectacular things that the Iranians could probably do could be to knock off a U.S. president. And Trump he's provocative. So I believe the Americans are ready to live with whatever consequences of their actions.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Deniji. Now, let me go to Mr. Bayomi. If we are going to talk about the effect on the global trade now, what effect in few minutes, so we can pick calls. Now, what do you think would be the effect on the global trade? And do you think Africa probably, stand a chance to benefit from all this trade war in terms of investment? Probably China can at some point in time say, okay, I'm looking somewhere else. Let me go to Africa and invest.
Well, thank you. The thing is this is purely international politics. And once we have people who are eggheads, who can, come up with ideas and ways, by which we can, exploit the situation, so to say, because if we don't exploit it, an opportunity may not come like that again. So what we can do is we have the market, we have the population. If you have a new product today, and you want where you can promote it, come to Nigeria. within a week, people will get to know about it. So we have the market.
All right, you're making it sound like Nigeria is a dumb ground for.
Well, we are not really producing anyway. So welcome. Even toothpicks, we import toothpicks, which is a worrisome development. So, but the thing is this: we have the market, and all these superpower, countries, they want to control others. They want to influence others. They want to take decisions on behalf of others. And once they, see that Nigeria is ready to be, a willing partner, definitely they will cooperate with us, and we should emphasize on what will be mutually beneficial.
Okay. Well, I would have loved to ask us, how Nigerian leaders can actually emulate, what Trump is doing. Should they emulate? But we need to take reactions from our people at 0913-655-6952. Let's take reactions. We've got this message as a reaction to the first message, and it says, good morning, the anchor and the analyst. I think the 3 countries that left ECOWAS is a good blessing for them. Ibrahim Traoré, the military leader of Burkina Faso, has changed so many things that is beneficial to their citizens. Since France, the colonial master of these countries, have been booted out, other countries in West Africa must be alert that Russia and China should not become the 21st century colonial master in these 3 countries. Mr. Samuel from Airport. Thank you so much, Mr. Samuel, for your contribution. Hello, good morning. Please go on.
To please face our country. Let us materialize and what we have, let us use it to do something because of future. We have so many resources. We have so many things. All these things can be, do many things, rise, everything, promote our agricultural sector. Forget about traveling out every day, every week. Enough is enough. Don't allow people, you say, Japa. If you don't stop it, Japa will not stop.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Ritibi from Uro. 0913-655-6952. Still the number to call to hear your opinion, or you can send us a message on our WhatsApp number on 091-3655-6864. 091-3655-6952. Well, let me go back to the question I was asking earlier. Let's pick this. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
You're welcome, sir. What's your name?
Alewamure from Ilorin.
All right, you're welcome, sir.
African countries are not yet independent. Hello, ma. I think you are hearing me.
Yes, we are with you.
For the fact that we are not spending dollars. Dollar is not our currency. I mean, all of us in Africa. But even ordinary Gary, dollar is dominating over it. Ordinary Gary for poverty. So, what independence are we African countries celebrating? So economically, we are still enslaved by these people. So,
Mr. Rahim, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, please go on. I'm so sorry. We can barely hear you. The line is skipping. Could you try to please give us a call back, please? And try to move away from where you are so we get to hear you clearly. And if you are not able to pull the call through, you can send us a message on 091 3655 6864. 091 3655 6864. Would love to actually hear your opinion on this. Hello, good morning. All right, you're welcome back.
So Trump is now acting as the good American, trying to restore America to its former position. You know, out of the policy, he said there is no if you carry pregnancy to America and you say that pregnancy that is born in America is no longer American citizen. That just like Barack Obama from Kenya became the president. That can't happen again. So the man is good man, and he's telling our leaders for their common sense to work, my sister. You know, at times your enemy is of benefit, because if the enemy strikes you, you know what next to do, if even to fix your life aright. God bless you, man.
Thank you so much, Mr. Barry. Thank you so
Sorry,
much.
I must say something very quickly.
Okay.
The stoppage of birthright citizenship is not quite the case of Obama. Obama was born to a Kenyan father, resident in the United States, married to a U.S. citizen. It's not as if to say he's a birthright citizen. I mean, we must not be careful not to confuse issues here.
Oh, well, okay, let's speak this 09136556952. Hello.
I must be frank to our president to please, you are the cause of all this Japan. Stop it. Let Nigeria live in Nigeria. Provide all we need. Provide all what we need. Accommodate everything. Give us a good payment. No postpone of all this high. It's not going to help Nigeria. Before Obama, let me tell you about that one. These bad stars are existing.
Oh, no. Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Rotimi. I wish you could complete that sentence so we get to know which angle you want to, project it from. All right. 09136556952. We have about 3 minutes to check out time. And while we're signing out, I'd like to take your reaction on the two topics we've discussed about today. What would be your final remark to our listeners out there? Let me start with Alaji.
Well, our leaders should sit in silence and have quiet moments, and it's a moment where we calls for self-reflection, and we have to know, are we doing things right? If not, how do we get things done right?
Okay, all right.
Okay. I believe ECOWAS will survive powerfully for that matter. These are military rulers. If they don't blow themselves away, they will finally hand over to a democratic government which will return to ECOWAS. That is my view. Because the relationship, the people-to-people relationship in ECOWAS transcends any regime. In the case of the trade tariffs and what have you, Nigeria should simply put Nigeria first.
Right, thank you so much.
I will advise our leaders to let's look for local solutions to our problem. This is not the first time there is trade war. The one we have in 1993 where they have the Gulf War. Nigeria benefited in terms of our oil exports. But now, the price of oil may go up and it will affect the price of petrol that we buy in Nigeria. So I advise Nigeria to prepare for things like that. Maybe they will return subsidy, or I don't know, because as it's going now, the price of crude oil will increase and it will affect the price we buy petrol in Nigeria. God bless Nigeria.
Amen.
Yes, I will advise that all steps should be taken to make Nigeria to be great again. Just as just as Trump is trying to bring in the lost glory of America, our leaders should think about how we can bring the lost glory back to Nigeria. Nigeria shall be great again.
All right, thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. We need to bring back the lost glory so the giant of Africa will keep being the giant of Africa. And just as Mao had said earlier, that no country can exist in isolation. Well, that's about the size of the program today. And we'll say a special thank you to you who listened, to you who sent a message, and to you who tuned in to listen, called in, or probably tried calling. And in the course of it, we probably could not pick. We sincerely apologize. Join us next week, same time, same station, for another episode of this program, and we'll make sure to bring you exciting topic your way. And in case you might probably be hearing a new voice next week on Editors Hangout, do hold on for that one. I remain Omonike Babatunde. Thank you so much, guys, for coming on Editors Hangout. Thank you so much. All right, do have a wonderful day and keep listening to Diamond 88.7 FM Ilorin. We have amazing programs lined up for you. Have a wonderful day.